I'm Keith Giles, and I'm the CEO and founder of Verus Health Partners. We help people beat the high cost of healthcare. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner, employee, it doesn't matter if you're like a veteran or an individual or a sole proprietor, there's always room for improvement. And that's kind of what we do for people. I knew my end state. I didn't know what an end state was till I got there, into mine, and but I knew where I wanted to go with my business, and I was like, okay, to get to where I'm going, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need some help. Like sometimes when I'm running, and my wife pushes me to get the next 500 meters out of the way, I need a little push and guidance to get me through it. That's how I ended up with that. It was Florida, I think it was Veterans Florida and Florida Association of Veteran-Owned Businesses turned me on to the CEO mindset, and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to need. I learned that I was shooting from the hip. I think the one thing I learned most is that I was still in an employee mindset, trying to run a company as a CEO, and it was like really frustrating. And you can't really gather traction because you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing as a CEO. And that's one of the things that I was like, okay, good, I'm in the right place. It's kind of funny because everything seemed to fall in place when we were going through CEO mindset. Okay, we are doing some things good, and one of them was like, hey, we're going to go over. We need to get a part-time person here to help out. So we did hire the part-time person, where CEO mindset really came in. The thing is like, hey, where's your job description? What are you going to ever do? So that kind of like led to other things like, hey, we got a new job position, which was kind of like a lot of functions that we were just holding in the background, doing it on our own. So that was kind of nice, which is now, after CEO mindset number 2, phase 2, we're gonna hire another part-time person here in the Panhandle. So that's kind of cool. And then of course, Julian's pushing us to, hey, you need more employees so that when you get to that mindset, hey, I got employees and everything. And I'm like, okay, I could probably do that. One, my net worth. Okay, a lot of times we'd be giving away free advice, and I'm like, wait a minute, and then the client would go and take it somewhere else. So that's been straightened out. The other one would be basically onboarding clients, and that led to the onboarding part of that, which is like, hey, we call it PITAs, right? So how do we get rid of these PITAs, or how do we set up success? And that onboarding thing is very important, not to give away the goods before they're even bought, right? It's been kind of weird because one of them is COVID-19, right? But it's been steady. But what we did see, and this is another good result from CEO mindset, it's like, hey, Keith, stop chasing the hey, I want to start this, chase the things that are starting to work, start working on this. So we had about a 20% bump in individuals and family enrollments, as well as sole proprietors in their health insurance. And it's really been starting to take off. And that's kind of where we want to go, because our whole philosophy is changing the healthcare landscape. So more and more people are talking about it. More and more people are looking for another avenue for that. So we're providing it, and so we've kind of turned a lot of our energy onto that side of the house. So a little bit about me. I'm retired Air Force. I've been working engineers and managers for that. But I think the one thing that a CEO means is leadership. And one of the things I learned in my military career, that the people underneath you are success, they make you a success. And one of the things that we learned in CEO, hey, you've got to get your people, you got to communicate well with the people that are underneath you. You gotta just lead, get the stuff out of their way that's keeping them from being a success, and then everything falls together. So I really like doing that. If I can remove obstacles and improve the processes with them, and if you know, the other thing is listen. You know, I remember one of the classes with Julian. Listen. Somebody's going to tell you something. You need to listen and just like, oh, you don't know everything, Keith. You know, and just apply it. You know, that's really cool. I got a lot of work to do. Okay, processes. This is another big thing that we've got to get done, and we're just like scrambling to do that. That's absolutely paramount when we decided our end of mind. So that's increased a lot of work. However, I wouldn't be able to start doing it unless we had hired a employee. You know, so it kind of is good, but we're still busy as heck because we got all those pieces that we haven't put back together. You know. So another personal thing is my two partners have noticed a big difference in me, and they've said it. I kind of like you now, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. If that's a good idea, but they kind of like the way I've started leading, and it was just a few classes, you know, that made me think about redoing things. As simple as, hey, what about your meetings when you meet up in the morning or weekly meetings? What are you doing there? You got to take control. We would just be out of control. I mean, you'd be like here for an hour. It's like, are we on topic? So I just finally had to say, you got to put your foot down, you know? So I started putting my foot down, and we'd be out of there in 15 minutes and had everything we needed to say. It was unbelievable. Matter of fact, last night I talked to a friend that started her own agricultural business sort of thing, and I believe she signed up. I'll tell you one thing about the classes that, you know, as good as Julian is, the whole collaboration of other CEOs in there talking about their experiences and stuff like that, you absolutely learn from that. But you also have a great communication with it. So I still communicate with a lot of my what would you call them, roomies, zoomies, you know, CEOs. So that's been really positive.